Royal Racist saga continues. Piers Morgan named the so-called Royal Racist on his Talk TV show last week, and the palace are said to be mulling their response. To give us her take, I'm joined by Angela Levin. Angela, thank you for joining us on Spectator TV.
Pleasure.
Yesterday, William and Kate and the King and Queen were pictured next to each other. It seemed to be very much a sort of show of unity. What do you think the mood in the palace is like this past week after the revelations from Endgame and the racist royals row that's been sort of bubbling along?
I think each of them would have a different feeling about it all. But what they have done is learnt this is what Harry does now. He doesn't just attack them once, he just goes on and on and on, you know, with Netflix, with Oprah Winfrey the first, and then moaning to everybody who he comes to. And I feel very strongly that he would have known what would be in this book. And he's done absolutely nothing about it. I thought he would say, you know, he's very keen on suing people. He would say, this is an invasion of my privacy and I won't have it. Or say, I had nothing to do with this. I'm so sorry, everyone. But he hasn't done that. And I think that the royal family have to get thicker skin and actually just get on with things. And they've got a lot to do. And I think it has brought them together because they know the pain that each one is feeling. And they just feel that their job is to be part of the royal family and get on with what they're supposed to do. But underneath it all, it's very painful.
You mentioned as well we need to get to the bottom of how this came out. I mean, there's been an ongoing sort of controversy this week about how the names of these two royals were put in the public domain in Omid Scobie's book in a Dutch translation. I mean, you've released books on the royals before. I mean, how do you think this kind of thing could happen?
Well, it's very difficult. You have to be very careful with the publisher. I mean, both Queen Camilla, who I wrote about, came out as a biography last year, and Prince Harry came out in 2018. I let them know I was doing it because I wanted to go on their engagements and things like that. But it's the publisher that actually has to be very careful. And always they send it to the lawyer and they look and say, no, you can't say this, or change the word, it's too powerful. But it seems that Scobie's people the publishers, did send the wrong one on to Holland. And I don't know how that was done. I mean, you've got to be very careful. And there's lots of sections in it that are really hideous, as well as the names being mentioned. It's not just one line, particularly is unpleasant about William.
Which makes you think again, I mean, you mentioned this before, why hasn't Harry come out stronger against this book if he doesn't believe those things? I mean,
yes, absolutely. I thought he might. The fact that he hasn't, I mean, he's quite happy with it. And I think that is absolutely appalling. And of course, Meghan is also very keen on suing anyone who breaks into her privacy. And she's done nothing. In fact, she was walking down the road the other day wearing a bracelet from the king that was worth several £1,000s, smiling away as if, you know, I've won this battle. That's how I interpret it. Some people say that it's sort of saying, oh, I'm sorry. But I don't. If you say you are sorry, you say something verbally. You don't just go moving your arm where you've got your bracelet on. I can't understand how cruel they've been, actually, because certainly for Meghan, because she'd have been nobody. I mean, the whole thing, she's now very well known, she's now very rich, because of what has happened. If she didn't like it, she could leave. You don't have to try and break the whole monarchy down.
It seems a shame as well, and that before Endgame's publication, it seemed perhaps that Harry and his father were approaching something a bit of a rapprochement. You know, Harry called his father on his 75th birthday. There've been talks about Christmas, them seeing each other. I presume you think that none of that's on the cards now.
Well, I didn't believe it in the first place. I thought, why would he suddenly be all cosy and nice and want to come? And why on earth would Meghan speak to King Charles if she hates the monarchy so much? I think it was either a ploy set up so they can be nice and then whack them a week or so later. You know, there are people who do that, bring someone flowers and then smash them up. And vindictive in the extreme. I can't see why they did that. I thought it was a very cruel move.
We should mention as well, Harry's been in the papers for another reason this week, which is that he's got an ongoing case against the Home Office about his police protection. Can you tell us a bit about that and what's going on there?
Yes, well, Harry feels that he should have grade 1 protection. That means that it would be policemen, and that means they have guns and they also know all the sort of intelligence that's going around in that. But it's very expensive and it comes out of our tax. He has that whenever he goes to something that's royal. You know, if he comes over for a royal event, that's he's protected in that way. If he's not doing anything that involves the royals, he doesn't get that level of protection because he's now no longer a working royal. He offered to pay for the police, but they don't want to do that because any head of state, any head of companies will feel they deserved it too. So we wouldn't get the police on the street because they'll be looking after other people. But they've got very good levels of other protection officers who can do that for them without having the gun and without knowing absolutely the up-to-date. But they're very experienced and they're very good. Harry doesn't think that's good enough for him. So this is why he's taking them back again. But he also wants it for all 4 of them. So if you think 4 sets of top-grade police, you need 3 of them a day. You work that out. It's very expensive. And he's not giving anything. Well, he's trying to take away a lot, but he's not giving anything towards the royal family. So he's been told not. But he feels that he's been, as usual, he's the victim. He hasn't been treated so well. We heard this, that he was upset that he got 4 sausages and William got 5 when he was a little boy. So this same thing has gone on and on and on and on. He feels that it's not fair. He hasn't been treated. And it says in his lawyer on his behalf has said that it shouldn't matter where he is. So this means, and I thought this was the plan all along, that he wants us, the UK, to pay for wherever he is, whatever he's doing around the world. And that's really cheeky.
That would have an astronomical cost, presumably, for taxpayers. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is what that's all about, I think.
I mean, so Harry's made the argument that he's being treated potentially unfavourably compared to other individuals who might be targeted in a similar way in the UK. I mean, do you buy that at all? I think he seems to be implying that it's a sort of revenge from the British state almost for his behaviour. Do you buy that at all?
It's not. One of the things he doesn't like is that they asked for advice from the royals about how much he's with the royals, so that they knew how much he was working with them. Well, it's negligible, you see. And he can't be up there. I think there'll be a huge row from us who pay tax on if he gets that and can go drifting around the world attacking the monarchy at any price at any time, and that he's given that sort of protection. I understand he needs protection, but he has to go down a grade or 2 because of his position now. I think he still feels that he should be treated the same way as he was as a prince, without doing anything about it. It's having your cake and eat it, isn't it, really? Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering what you think. Where do you think the Sussexes go from here? In the sense that Harry's had Spare now, they've had their Netflix show. The public possibly seem to be getting tired of all this. I mean, Omid Scobie's book doesn't seem to have sold very well this week. Do you think they're going to have to take stock at some point and think, what are we going to do now without causing chaos?
We're waiting for Meghan's memoirs. So there'll be another load of nastiness in that one. I think that they can't make it work out. I think people don't want to hear endless moans from people living in a house with 16 bathrooms and earning millions. It's sort of, it doesn't work. And what's happened is nothing has happened. There's lots of things that they say they're going to do, but they don't work out. Meghan was going to be starring in a film, but she demanded a top grade editor. No one wants to be there, they're difficult to work with. And so when she was at some award, and that people said to her, "What do you want to do now?" And she said, "Oh, I want to do something that's really exciting. I want to make people feel." Now, I don't know what that means, okay? And that means to me, well, actually, there's not much going on. And a lot of people are avoiding them now. And instead of actually being positive and maybe having a sort of annoying period and then coming back in and getting together and being positive, but they're not, they're moaning all the time.
And do you think they were banking as well a bit on the Americans sort of appreciating their celebrity and their connections with the royals, and now perhaps the Americans are kind of tiring of them as well?
Well, the Americans have got very tired of them. They don't like moaners either. And also they don't trust them because they can tell that whatever they do and say, they sell it off. Not everything, but a lot of the things they pass on and make some money out of it. And a lot of the A-listers now don't want anything to do with them anymore. And also, of course, the Duke of Westminster has not invited them to his wedding in the summer. And that's a very interesting thing. And he was Archie's godfather, is Archie's godfather. He's William's godfather for little George, and the king is his godfather. Right. And so he's very high up, and I think he didn't want a mess or upset the royal family. That's it. If people are going to choose between Harry and Meghan and William and Catherine and the King and Queen, it's quite obvious where they're going to go.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Angela.